you are serious about creating a safe and sustainable future for the children, then be serious about education.
Do you not have a thirst in your life to be happy? Do you not have the thirst in your life to experience peace every single day, not just once, but every single day?
On today's program, we'll learn how a Ukrainian teacher is inspiring hope in refugee children. And we'll view a video message from UNICEF on the vital need for global education. Then we'll hear Hillary Clinton voice her support for the rights of LGBTQ people. And we'll profile environmental activist and Goldman Prize recipient from the Netherlands. After that, we'll see a report on the state of overpopulation and its impact on the world. Finally, we'll experience a groundbreaking immersive Van Gogh art exhibit touring the country.
Где?
Вот она.
There was nothing more important than taking my child away. I wasn't a professor at the moment I was running away from war. I was a mother. I wasn't even a wife because I left my husband behind. Everything I was thinking about is that I had to take my child away. Every Ukrainian now feels guilty because if you leave, you feel guilty you left your country. If you stay, you feel guilty that your children are in danger. If you fight, you feel guilty because you're not dead as other people. We saw a lot of children crossing the border and sleeping in churches or in gyms or refugee centers. And what we saw is that their mothers are so stressed. Basically, the children were abandoned. We need to give these children an opportunity to have a normal life. A norm for a child is a school. We came to Gogh the North, where this big volunteer center was, and nobody cared about us as well. And then at some point they just start yelling pretty aggressively that we are teachers and we can teach, and just allow us to start teaching somewhere for free, of course. Just to give us this opportunity and we can help the children. On the first day of school, we had 227 children. You can imagine me and the head teacher of the school running around, counting chairs, trying to figure out where all the children will go. And this is such a huge responsibility for a school, to allow so many children, a lot of them with no documents at all.
We're making a purple soup.
І тепер знов.
We're making a purple soup.
І так треба тепер. Скубі.
We have new children coming every day, and some of them went through those horrible experience of living in the basement, seeing people dying, not having food and water for several days. I don't know how much time they will need to actually heal, to realize what happened. The children now are full of hatred, and I think it's horrible because children shouldn't hate. They have all the rights to hate, but it's ruining them from inside. What I'm trying to do is to give them strength to stop hating. Our dream and our plan is to go home and to rebuild a school that was destroyed. This is what we actually live for now. We will rebuild the school and we will create amazing opportunities for our children to get high quality education, and for them they will have a reason, they will have a place where they will go back.
I am talking about gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. Human beings born free and given, bestowed equality and dignity, who have a right to claim that, which is now one of the remaining human rights challenges of our time. Some seem to believe it is a Western phenomenon, and therefore people outside the West have grounds to reject it. Well, in reality, gay people are born into and belong to every society in the world. They are all ages, all races, all faiths. They are doctors and teachers, farmers and bankers, soldiers and athletes. And whether we know it or whether we acknowledge it, they are our family, our friends, and our neighbors. Being gay is not a Western invention. It is a human reality. Now we must go further and work here and in every region of the world to galvanize more support for the human rights of the LGBT community. To the leaders of those countries where people are jailed, beaten, or executed for being gay, I ask you to consider this. Leadership, by definition, means being out in front of your people when it is called for. It means standing up for the dignity of all your citizens and persuading your people to do the same. Be on the right side of history.
With its iconic windmills, tulip fields, and dedicated bicycle culture, many mistakenly think the Netherlands has a low carbon footprint.
So we are extremely fossil fuel oriented. If you look at the emissions per person, we emit 5 times as much as someone living in India.
As signatories of the Climate Change Convention, the Netherlands had agreed to reduce its CO2 emissions between 20 and 40% by 2020. And yet the government was doing little to meet its commitment.
In the meantime, you see the big fires in Australia, in America. I'm all the time thinking, why don't we act? It's here already.
Fed up with her government's inaction, Marianne Manesma founded Urgenda, a non-profit dedicated to creating innovative solutions to climate change. Together, they filed a lawsuit against the Dutch government in 2012, taking a novel legal approach based on the nation's duty of care for its citizens.
What is this duty? Well, you have signed the Climate Change Convention. You have said that it's very dangerous, climate change. And if you now are not acting on that, and you have acknowledged that it's so dangerous, then this is unlawful.
To add heft to her lawsuit, Marianne created what she called crowd pleading, a hybrid of crowdfunding and citizen science.
So we asked everybody in the Netherlands, if you see any argument that we can use from another court case all over the world, tell us. And if you want to be a co-plaintiff, please join us, but we want to go to court with as many people as possible.
Ultimately, 886 co-plaintiffs joined the case.
So the judges all the time were not watching a few lawyers, they were also watching hundreds of people that were like, please help us. And I think that makes a difference.
Marianne also worked non-stop, traveling the country to gain support from the public and the press. Not surprisingly, there was a major skepticism that they could win.
Even friends that said, nicely done, Marianne, but not going to work. And we said, this is not a PR stunt, we believe we can win.
In 2015, The Hague's District Court ruled in Urgenda's favor, a verdict that was upheld by the Court of Appeals in 2018.
And I think that they really did not expect us to win. And even after they appealed, they still thought this was a mistake of the first court, next time we'll win, this can't be true, and so on.
As the case headed to the Supreme Court, Marianne worked with more than 800 Dutch NGOs and businesses to develop 54 concrete ideas, like subsidizing rooftop solar and implementing sustainable forest management that would allow the government to meet the 2020 deadline.
So we went with all those measures to the government and said, we are prepared to do this.
In December 2019, in a groundbreaking decision, the Supreme Court rejected the government's last appeal.
Dat het cassatieberoep van de staat moet worden verworpen.
Urgenda had won. Their case demonstrated that governments have a legal responsibility to protect their citizens from the dangers of climate change.
Astronauten van Spaceship Earth. After 7 years, finally we have won, and now they should act.
The verdict has sparked similar court cases around the world.
I want within 10 years an industry without emissions. I think what we have shown is that even if everybody says it's impossible, don't listen to all the negative people. Go for your own thing and keep hope.
For outstanding environmental achievement for Europe, the 2022 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Marianne Manesma, Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
The world has reached 8 billion, and I'd love to tell you what this means for us. The world reaching 8 billion is not a catastrophe. In fact, it's a grand success globally. More people are surviving, life expectancy has increased across the world, healthcare has improved, and more people are thriving. It would be a catastrophe if governments can't prepare for what's coming in the next few decades. The population of mankind is not likely to keep rising forever, at least as current predictions show. What we see is a peak predicted in about 2080s, thereafter a plateau, and after 2100, we'll have to wait and see. A feature of today's population is how diverse it is in different countries of the world. Imagine, for example, that there are 8 countries that are going to be responsible for half of all global population growth between now and 2050. At the other extreme, we have more than 60% of the global population today already living in a country that is below replacement fertility. And more than 50 countries are already in population decline. Another example of population diversity around the world is age. The median age in Europe right now is 41.7 years. In sub-Saharan Africa, the median age is about 17 years. That difference is greater than it's ever been in human history that we have record. Long ago, everyone was young, so to speak. Life expectancy was low across the world, so most countries were similar to one another in being young. Eventually, with time, we probably expect with more life expectancy and declining fertility that most countries will be older. We're in a fascinating window right now in human history where we have this grand diversity between old countries and young countries simultaneously. We don't see a baby boom. In fact, the pace at which the global population was growing peaked back in 1964, when it was growing at more than 2.2% per year. Now, right now, it's less than 1%. It took 12 years for us to grow from 7 to 8 billion. It will take us 14 and a half years to reach 9 billion, and then it will take us more than 20 years to get to 10 billion. Birth rates go down for many reasons. And what we've observed for years, since approximately the 70s, is that where we see an increase, for example, in women's education, children are more likely to be healthy, children are more likely to survive, and women are more interested in regulating their fertility, adopting contraception, and having fewer children. So while we think about reproductive rights, historically, it's very much about enabling women in couples to avoid pregnancies that were unwanted. Today, we have to recognize that reproductive rights embraces also enabling people to have wanted children. Where development has been successful and progresses, we see that these are countries in large measure where women have reproductive rights and choices. That women's agency, their bodily autonomy, are essential to development. They are in fact hallmarks and indicators of development and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's imperative for us to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals and to make education universally accessible and affordable for all children. In many countries of the world today, what we see also is that people aspire to more children than they're actually having. Across Europe, we saw a diversity of responses in terms of birth rates and the pandemic. In the majority, countries actually had a decline in birth rates 9 months after the onset of the pandemic, when lockdowns were happening. And that seems to have been relatively temporary. Those numbers have rebounded in the majority of countries. This is not unusual. This is similar to what was observed in the Great Depression. It was observed in the flu epidemic of the early part of the 20th century. In periods of economic uncertainty, history shows us that people postpone getting pregnant, that births decline, and those recover in almost all cases within a relatively short period of time. And that seems to be the impact of COVID. One of the great successes of 8 billion is it means that increasing life expectancy is no longer something which is only visible among the wealthier populations of this world, but it's growing and increasing. Child mortality is down, infant mortality is down, maternal mortality is down. These are huge successes for all of us. And 8 billion is 8 billion people who will develop unique, original, creative ideas to make the world a better place.
Throughout history, there are artists whose work have influenced generations of artists to come, but few have had crossover into popular culture, being immortalized in film and music. Vincent van Gogh is one of those timeless artists. Recently, Positive Spin attended the groundbreaking Vincent van Gogh exhibit, where people are completely immersed in the artwork of this timeless artist. Today, Vincent van Gogh is recognized as one of the most famous artists of all time. However, during his lifetime, he only sold one painting for 400 francs, which is approximately $1,000 today. Van Gogh started painting at the age of 27, and during the next 10 years he created 2,100 pieces of art. He died at the age of 37. In the latter years of his life, while in an asylum, he painted some of his most famous works, including Starry Night. After his death, his widowed sister-in-law made it her mission to spread Van Gogh's art across galleries and exhibitions. After she died, her son founded the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam in 1973, where most of his artwork still remains.
Peace is a beautiful garden, a warm sunset, a favorite pet. Peace is the warmth experienced when surrounded by people who love you and the joy of being in surroundings that inspire you.
Hi, my name is Arjun Ryman, and I work for the Army National Guard. What peace means to me is knowing that individuality exists in every single person, and knowing that everyone has different beliefs. And yes, you can disagree with each other, but don't create violence over it. There's a lot of people out there that use guns for violence. There's a lot of other people that use guns for protection and help others in need. But why use guns when you can use these babies? Let's go. 1, 2. Okay, I'm good. Oh. And we come to a compromise. I lost, he won, so. Gotta create peace around me. I wish everybody peace. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Positive Spin. This show is made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Wright Foundation and the Prem Rawat Foundation. Watch and subscribe to our previous episodes on YouTube, and please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Free Speech TV, Roku, Sling, DirecTV, Dish Network, and Apple TV. I'm Bill McCarthy. Stay safe and healthy, and remember to create your own positive news.